Listen closely, because this is not just another video. This is a message meant only for those who are tired of battles, tired of attacks, tired of silent enemies working against them in the shadows. What I'm about to tell you has the power to shift the atmosphere around you instantly. Watch once, and every enemy who has been plotting, speaking, or moving against you will begin to disappear quicker than you can even imagine. They won't know why, they won't understand how, but you will. Because what's about to unfold in front of you is not coincidence, it's divine orchestration. You see, chosen ones never walk through life without resistance. From the very beginning, your light has been too bright for the comfort of others. Some people couldn't stand your presence before you ever spoke a word. Some looked at you with envy without even knowing you. And some secretly have been waiting and watching for your downfall. But what they don't know is this. The very act of watching this right now is activating something they cannot fight against. Pause for a moment and breathe this in. You are not weak. You are not behind. You are not cursed. You are carrying a mantle so powerful that it unsettles darkness wherever you go. That's why they gossip. That's why they lie. That's why they turn against you without reason. But here's the truth that will make them crumble. You were never meant to fight them in your own strength. You were meant to stand in the authority that was already written over your life before you were born. Enemies thrive when you believe their whispers. They multiply when you bow to their pressure. But the moment you rise, the moment you refuse to be shaken, they scatter. And tonight, this moment, you are rising. Watch how fast they vanish. Watch how quickly doors that were locked begin to swing wide. Watch how every false friend reveals themselves and fades into the background. This is not imagination. This is the power of being chosen. Think about it. Haven't you noticed how people are drawn to you even when you're silent? Haven't you noticed how some seem magnetized by your energy, while others feel intimidated without you lifting a finger? That's not coincidence. That's spiritual recognition. Darkness knows light. Weakness knows strength, and envy always knows greatness before greatness is fully revealed. That's why you've been tested so harshly. That's why betrayal hit you so deep, because the enemy has always known who you are, even when you doubted yourself. But let me tell you something shocking. The very ones who set traps for you are about to fall into the pits they dug. The very ones who laughed at your struggles will be forced to watch your sudden rise. And the very forces that thought they could hold you back are already trembling. Because chosen ones don't fight like everyone else. Your silence is louder than their noise. Your resilience is heavier than their attacks. And your glow, your divine glow, is something no enemy can put out. Now hear this carefully. Enemies disappear not because you argue back, not because you prove yourself, not because you stoop to their level, but because your presence becomes untouchable. When you step into alignment with the assignment on your life, everything not meant for you begins to fall away. That includes fake friends. That includes hidden enemies. That includes unseen spiritual battles. They can't survive in the frequency you're moving into, and whether they like it or not, they will have no choice but to step back. Ask yourself this: why do they study you in silence? Why do they watch you without ever admitting it? Why do they mention your name in rooms you've never entered? Because even they know your influence is undeniable. They know your aura is unshakable. They know your calling is unbreakable, and it terrifies them. That is why they gossip in shadows, but tremble in your presence. That is why they pretend to be close, but secretly despise you. That is why some have already left without explanation. They couldn't handle the weight of being near someone chosen. But here's the secret that's about to change everything. Their season in your life has expired. Every plot, every lie, every attempt, they are already collapsing. You won't need to lift a hand. You won't need to chase explanations. You won't need to prove your worth. The energy around you is shifting in your favor. God, the universe, the divine, whatever you choose to call it, is realigning the battlefield so that every enemy is exposed and eliminated. Feel that fire in your spirit right now. Something is stirring. Something is breaking. That heaviness you've been carrying, it's lifting. Those voices that made you question yourself, they're fading. That sense that something was working against you, it's dissolving. This is the moment. The shift is already happening. And if you keep watching, keep leaning in, you'll feel the chains breaking even more. Let me ask you, are you ready for the life where enemies don't dictate your joy? Are you ready for the breakthrough where betrayal no longer stings because you see it as divine protection? Are you ready for the moment when silence becomes your loudest victory? Because it's here. It's happening. And you don't need to chase it. You just need to receive it. Enemies disappear quickly because chosen ones carry the kind of protection that cannot be bought, cannot be faked, cannot be touched. Your aura is a shield. Your spirit is a sword. And every attack against you is already backfiring. That's why you've survived what others didn't. That's why you're still standing after storms that should have destroyed you. That's why, even when you felt weakest, you were still glowing. And that glow, my friend, is about to blind every enemy in your path. So let them watch, let them whisper, let them gather in shadows. None of it will matter, because after this, they won't last. You won't need to remove them. They will remove themselves. And when they do, you will realize it was never loss. It was clearance. Clearance for blessings. Clearance for peace. Clearance for abundance. And now, as you listen, as you take this in, prepare yourself. Because what comes next in this message is not just about enemies disappearing. It's about you stepping into a reality so untouchable, so radiant, that no attack can stand against it. Keep watching, because the deeper we go, the more unstoppable you'll realize you are. Close your eyes for a second and imagine this. A battlefield, but not the kind with swords and fire. A battlefield of silence, where your presence alone is the weapon. That is where you are right now. You don't need to swing wildly. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to argue with anyone. You are standing in a power that shakes the ground beneath their feet without you even speaking. And this is why the enemies cannot last around you. They are suffocated by the very atmosphere you carry. Every time you walk into a room, the energy shifts. You've felt it before. Conversations pause. Eyes glance your way. Some people smile, but it's forced. Others turn cold instantly. Some are drawn closer, while others step back. That's the sign. That's the proof. Your spirit speaks louder than your words. Your light exposes what is hidden. And anything not aligned with your destiny begins to crumble in your presence. Have you noticed how some people left without a reason? How opportunities suddenly closed, only for something better to open? How people who swore loyalty vanished when you needed them most? That wasn't betrayal, it was positioning. You weren't being abandoned, you were being protected. Because what's about to happen in your life requires purity around you. No counterfeits, no enemies pretending to be friends, no anchors disguised as support. The table is being cleared, and every enemy, visible or invisible, is being swept out quickly. Now let me ask you something. How long have you carried the weight of trying to make everyone like you? How many times have you lowered your voice, dimmed your shine, or silenced your truth just to make others comfortable? That's over. That version of you is gone. The one who begged for acceptance has died. The one who thought enemies had power has awakened. You are stepping into the unshakable version of yourself, the one who understands. Not everyone is supposed to stay. Not every battle needs your hand, and not every voice deserves your attention. Enemies thrive when you feed them with reaction. They shrink when you starve them with silence. And right now, you are entering a season where your silence will speak louder than thunder. You will not need to expose them. They will expose themselves. You will not need to confront them. Their conscience will eat them alive. You will not need to fight them. They will destroy themselves in the shadows. Because chosen ones are untouchable when they finally recognize who they are. Think about David. Ignored, underestimated, but anointed. Goliath mocked him, laughed at him, belittled him. But one stone, just one, brought the giant down. That's you. Your very existence, your very breath, your very resilience is the stone. Every giant standing before you is about to collapse because your authority is not of this world. It's divine. You don't need to fight hard. You just need to stand tall. Here's something shocking. Some of your enemies are people who once called you friend. Some even share your bloodline. And this is why it hurts so deeply. It's not always strangers. It's the ones who knew your weaknesses, the ones who knew your past, the ones who benefited from your kindness. But they forgot something. They forgot that betrayal against a chosen one always backfires. They forgot that touching someone anointed carries consequences they cannot escape. And they are about to learn that lesson in ways you won't even need to witness. Pause for a moment. Feel this in your spirit. Justice is moving faster than you think. Every word spoken against you is returning to sender. Every plan formed against you is collapsing. Every fake smile is being revealed. And you, the one who thought you were surrounded, are about to realize you are more protected than you ever imagined. Enemies don't just disappear because you're lucky. They disappear because light and darkness cannot occupy the same space. The brighter you shine, the quicker they run. Some will leave quietly, some will leave loudly, some will try to come back when they realize they lost access to what was divine. But you will not need to fear any of them, because once light exposes them, they can never truly hide again. And here's what you must know. Their absence is your opening. The moment the wrong ones leave, the right ones arrive. The moment the betrayers exit, destiny helpers enter. The moment enemies scatter, blessings gather. That's why this season of isolation, of loss, of exposure, is actually the preparation for abundance. You're not losing, you're clearing space. And the speed at which these enemies are disappearing is the same speed at which your blessings are arriving. You may not see it fully yet, but it's already in motion. Opportunities are circling you. Divine connections are being prepared for you. Doors that were welded shut are unlocking right now. And every enemy that tried to block your path is being swept aside like dust in the wind. That's why your spirit has been restless. That's why you've been feeling shifts in the atmosphere. That's why some people's masks are suddenly slipping. It's because the time has come, the veil is lifting, and nothing against you can stand. Let me ask you this. Are you ready to walk into a room without fear of who's whispering? Are you ready to see enemies turn their heads because they cannot withstand your glow? Are you ready to step into blessings so undeniable that even your doubters will have to admit they were chosen all along? Because that moment is unfolding. Your life is no longer about fighting enemies. It's about outgrowing them. Your glow is your shield. Your destiny is your revenge. And your silence is your loudest answer. Watch closely. The very people who laughed at you will go silent. The very ones who doubted you will choke on their words. And the very forces that tried to break you will disappear. One by one, because nothing can touch what has been ordained. So, breathe. Let it sink in. You are stepping into a reality where enemies are powerless. The more they plot, the quicker they vanish. The more they attack, the weaker they become. The more they try, the faster they fail. And you will keep rising, glowing, shining, thriving, because you are unstoppable, you are untouchable, you are chosen. And now, as this message unfolds further, prepare yourself, because the next revelation will show you not just why enemies disappear, but how every attack against you transforms into the very fuel that accelerates your breakthrough. Keep watching, because what comes next will shake you to your core. Do you realize how powerful your story really is? The very attacks that were meant to destroy you are the exact reasons you are about to rise higher than ever before. Every moment of pain, every tear, every betrayal, it wasn't wasted. It was planting seeds, seeds of strength, seeds of wisdom, seeds of resilience. And now the harvest is ready. Enemies thought they buried you, but in truth, they only planted you. And what comes next will shock them, because nothing they did stopped you, it only prepared you. That's the beauty of being chosen. The weapons form, but they never prosper. The enemies gather, but they never succeed. And the storms rage, but they never drown you. Do you see the pattern? Every single time, you come out stronger. Every single time, you come out brighter. And every single time, your enemies disappear faster. Not because of luck, not because of chance, but because your path is divinely protected. Think about this. If every attack had worked, you wouldn't be here listening to this right now. If every enemy had succeeded, you would have been silenced long ago. But here you are, breathing, standing, listening, and glowing. That means nothing against you has ever truly worked. And if it hasn't worked before, it won't work now. That's why you can be confident. Because history already proves your survival. But here's where it gets deeper. Every attack has actually been your fuel. Every word spoken against you has been energy pushing you forward. Every betrayal has been a lesson sharpening your vision. Every closed door has been a redirection towards the right one. Your enemies didn't slow you down, they accelerated your growth. The pressure they put on you is the very reason you're becoming unshakable. They were tools, not threats. Stepping stones, not obstacles. Without realizing it, they built you into exactly who you were meant to be. Now, let's expose something hidden. Many of your enemies don't even hate you for what you've done. They hate you for who you are. They sense your greatness even when you're still in process. They fear your potential even before it manifests. They envy your resilience, your spirit, your presence. And here's the kicker. They fight you not because you've harmed them, but because your very existence reminds them of their own lack. You awaken something in them they cannot face. So instead, they attack. But here's the truth. They are not your problem. Their insecurity is not your burden. Their jealousy is not your responsibility. Their plots are not your concern. You are stepping into a life where their noise no longer registers because you have tuned your spirit to a higher frequency. And on that frequency, enemies can't survive. They vanish, quickly, quietly, inevitably. Let me ask you this. Why do you think storms always come before breakthrough? Why does the darkness always seem strongest before the light breaks? Because resistance increases right before release. The enemy always panics before you elevate. And what you've been experiencing lately, all those strange battles, all that unexpected tension, it was simply the signal that you are at the edge of breakthrough. And the very pressure you've been feeling is confirmation. Something great is about to be unleashed. Do you feel that? That inner knowing? That pull inside you that refuses to give up? That is your spirit recognizing the shift. And that's why your enemies are scrambling. They can sense it too. They see the glow forming around you. They see the blessings aligning for you. They see the strength rising in you. And they are terrified because they realize their time is up. Pause for a moment. Let it sink in. Your enemies are more afraid of you than you have ever been of them. They smile to mask it. They talk to cover it. They plot to hide it. But inside, they know. They know you cannot be stopped. They know their efforts are in vain. And they know the moment you fully step into your power, they will vanish without trace. And that moment is now. So here's what's about to happen. The very things they used to laugh at will become the reasons they envy you. The very places they tried to block you from entering will beg for your presence. The very weapons they formed will backfire in ways that leave them speechless. And you will walk through doors as if you were always meant to, because you were. Do not underestimate what's happening here. Watching this, receiving this, is not just entertainment, it is activation. You are aligning with the truth of who you are, and alignment always forces misalignment to flee. That's why enemies vanish so quickly, because they can't survive in the vibration of truth. Lies wither in the presence of authenticity. Envy suffocates in the atmosphere of abundance. Hate collapses when surrounded by love. That's the power you carry, and this is only the beginning. Imagine this next season, you no longer questioning why they left. You no longer worrying about who's against you. You no longer fearing hidden attacks. Instead, you are walking fully in the authority of someone who knows, I am chosen, I am covered, I am unstoppable. That's the life you're stepping into. A life where you no longer chase explanations. You embody elevation. Enemies will disappear so quickly, you won't even have time to notice their exit. One day they're whispering, the next day they're gone. One day they're plotting, the next day they vanish. One day they're laughing, the next day they're silent. Because light does not negotiate with darkness, it eliminates it. And your glow has become too bright for them to endure. So, prepare yourself. This shift isn't just about removing enemies. It's about preparing the stage for your abundance. You've cleared the battlefield. Now the rewards are marching in. You've survived the betrayal. Now the blessings are aligning. You've endured the pressure. Now the breakthrough is bursting through. It's already happening. You can feel it. And in the next moments, I'm going to show you exactly how the very things that tried to break you will become the stepping stones that elevate you. Keep watching, because the revelation ahead will not just silence your enemies, it will make you unstoppable for life. Have you ever noticed how the strongest breakthroughs often rise from the deepest wounds? That is the paradox of being chosen. What was meant to bury you becomes the very foundation that elevates you. Every attack, every betrayal, every season of loneliness, it wasn't wasted. It was fuel. And now, that fuel is igniting. You are standing on the edge of a fire so powerful that no enemy can survive it. Think back to the times you cried yourself to sleep, questioning why it had to be you. Think back to the moments you were left with nothing but your faith, your breath, and a broken heart. Those moments did not weaken you. They forged you. They stretched your spirit. They sharpened your vision. They prepared you for the moment you are stepping into now. And here's the truth. Your enemies played a role they didn't even understand. They thought they were breaking you, but they were actually building you. This is why they are vanishing so quickly now. Their assignment in your story has ended. They cannot follow you where you are going. They cannot breathe in the altitude you are rising into. And so, one by one, they are falling away. Not because you chased them out, not because you begged them to leave, but because your elevation suffocates anything not meant for you. And let me be clear, this is not just about people. Yes, some enemies wear familiar faces. Yes, some enemies once held your hand. But some enemies are not people at all. They are systems, patterns, addictions, fears, doubts. And those too are collapsing. That anxiety that used to hold you hostage is breaking right now. That fear that kept you stuck is dissolving. That cycle of lack, of delay, of sabotage, it's shattering. Every enemy, seen and unseen, is being forced to retreat because your glow is no longer containable. Let me ask you something. Do you feel the shift inside you? That subtle but undeniable pull that says, I cannot go back. That is the sign. That is the proof that the old you is gone forever. You are not the version of yourself who tolerated mistreatment. You are not the version of yourself who begged for love. You are not the version of yourself who settled for scraps. That chapter is closed, and the enemies who thrived in that chapter no longer have permission to enter the next. This is why exposure hurts but saves you. It stings when masks fall. It burns when friends reveal themselves as foes. But exposure is protection. It is the divine removing what you could not remove on your own. It is the universe clearing the stage for your true performance. And as painful as it may feel in the moment, it is always followed by release. Because chosen ones don't just survive betrayal, they rise because of it. Now, lean in closely, because this is where the story gets even more powerful. Every enemy who disappeared created space for alignment. The very moment they left, the right people, the right opportunities, the right blessings began to move toward you. You may not have seen them yet, but they are already circling you. And the speed of your elevation will be the very thing that silences every doubt you ever carried. Picture this: walking into rooms where your name was once ridiculed, only now it is being honored. Picture stepping into opportunities you once thought were too far out of reach. Picture living in peace so unshakable that no gossip, no lie, no betrayal can touch it. That is what happens when enemies disappear. They leave behind the space for destiny to manifest. Enemies are distractions, and without distractions, your focus sharpens, your power multiplies, your vision clears. That's why they can't stay, because your clarity is dangerous to them. The clearer you are, the faster you rise. The faster you rise, the more their shadows are exposed. And when shadows are exposed, they cannot survive the light. So let them whisper, let them watch, let them wonder. You will not need to explain. You will not need to defend yourself. Your growth will speak. Your glow will shout. Your elevation will roar. And that roar will silence every voice raised against you. Pause here and let this sink in. You are not fighting for survival anymore. You are walking in authority. You are no longer begging for tables. You are preparing your own. You are no longer searching for validation. You are embodying your truth. And that truth is magnetic. It draws blessings. It draws favor. It draws abundance. And every enemy who once stood in the way has already been removed, whether they realize it or not. Do you know why some of them are restless right now? Why they can't sleep in peace? It's because your glow is haunting them. Your name is echoing in places they thought they erased you from. Your presence is rising even when they tried to bury it. That is the curse of touching someone chosen. They are forced to watch what they cannot stop. And here's the beautiful twist. You don't need revenge. You don't need to prove them wrong. Because the very act of you winning, of you thriving, of you glowing, is the loudest revenge of all. Enemies crave your downfall, but when they disappear, they are left with nothing but silence, and your success filling the air. This is the life you're stepping into. Not a life free of challenges, but a life where challenges cannot break you. Not a life free of enemies, but a life where enemies cannot last. Not a life free of pain, but a life where pain always transforms into power. That is what it means to be chosen. So breathe. Let the weight fall off your shoulders. You are free, you are rising, you are unstoppable. And the very things that once felt like burdens are becoming your crown. The glow on your life is not dimming, it's intensifying. And the more it shines, the quicker every false, every fake, every foe fades away. Keep watching, because the next revelation will shake the ground under your feet. I'm about to show you how your glow doesn't just make enemies disappear, it also attracts a level of favor and abundance so overwhelming that even you won't believe how fast it comes. The glow you carry is not just light, it is a magnet. The same energy that forces enemies to scatter is the very energy that draws blessings closer to you. This is the part most people don't realize. Disappearance is only half the story. The real miracle is what fills the space after the enemies are gone. And what's coming to fill your life now will feel like overflow. Have you ever wondered why certain opportunities slipped through your fingers, even when you were prepared? Why certain relationships fell apart when you were giving everything? Why certain doors remained locked, no matter how many times you knocked? It wasn't rejection, it was preservation. Because the moment you walked through those doors, you would have dragged enemies with you. And those enemies were not equipped to witness what's about to unfold in your life. So the divine delayed your blessing until your circle was clear. But now the circle is clear. The energy around you has shifted. And because of that, doors are opening faster than you expect. What was once held back is being released all at once. The favor that was paused is accelerating. The abundance that was waiting is flooding in. And this is why your enemies are panicking right now, because they can sense what's coming before you even see it. Picture this: unexpected opportunities landing in your hands, phone calls you didn't anticipate, resources you once thought were out of reach suddenly becoming available, strangers showing up at the exact moment you need help. That's not coincidence, it's alignment. It's the divine replacing what you lost with what you deserve. It's the universe showing you that the pain had purpose and the wait was worth it. And here's the truth that will shake you. The abundance coming to you is not ordinary. It's not small. It's not the kind you can hide. It will be visible. It will be undeniable. It will be so radiant that those who doubted you will have to watch in silence. And the very enemies who mocked you will see with their own eyes what they could never stop. Let me ask you something. Have you noticed how you've been sensing change before it even arrives? That stirring in your spirit, that restlessness in your soul, it's not anxiety, it's preparation. Your body knows something your mind hasn't caught up to yet. And that something is breakthrough. A breakthrough so massive that it will shift not just your circumstances, but the very way you see yourself. Pause for a moment and imagine the version of you who no longer worries about who is against you, who no longer questions if you are enough, who no longer fears loss, because you understand loss is simply making room for more. That version of you is awakening. And as they awaken, enemies cannot remain. They are allergic to your truth. And your truth is glowing brighter than ever. You see, enemies hate when you step into your power because it exposes their weakness. They hate when you rise because it reminds them of where they're stuck. They hate your glow because it reveals their shadows. But no matter how much they resist, they cannot stop it. They cannot block it. They cannot dim it, because your glow is not man-made. It is divine, and anything divine is untouchable. So here's what's about to happen in your life. Doors will open without explanation. People will favor you without reason. Blessings will locate you without warning. And all of it will happen so quickly that it will feel almost unreal, but it will be real. It will be your life. And the best part? You won't have to force it. You won't have to beg for it. You won't even have to chase it. It will chase you. Because when you glow, blessings run toward the light. Your enemies thought they were removing opportunities from you, but in reality, they were redirecting you to better ones. They thought they were blocking your path, but in truth, they were clearing space for a bigger one. They thought they were delaying your blessing, but they were only making room for acceleration. And now, all at once, everything they tried to stop is rushing towards you at double speed. Think about Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, locked in prison. Enemies thought they ended him. But every betrayal only positioned him closer to the palace. That is your story too. Every pit, every betrayal, every loss has only moved you closer to the throne prepared for you. And when you step into it, no enemy will be able to deny it. Let me ask you, are you ready for the moment when your glow is so undeniable that even your enemies call you blessed? Are you ready for the season where your life itself becomes the testimony, where you don't even have to speak because your abundance speaks louder than words? Are you ready for the overflow, the kind that leaves you wondering, how did all this find me so fast? Because that's the season that is unfolding right now. Enemies are disappearing, blessings are arriving, and your life is about to become the evidence that no attack can cancel what's divine. This is why the tension has been so heavy lately, because blessings are always preceded by battles. And the size of the battle is always a clue to the size of the breakthrough. If the warfare was great, the reward will be greater. And yours is near. Feel it. Deep down you know it. You've been sensing it. The atmosphere is charged with it. And the moment you fully embrace it, everything shifts. Your glow will multiply. Your enemies will scatter faster. And your blessings will overflow so heavily that you won't even have room to contain them. Keep watching. Because the next revelation will not just show you what's coming, it will show you how to carry it, how to protect it, and how to rise into a level of power where enemies aren't just removed, they are permanently silenced. Do you feel that shift in your chest? That quiet awareness that something in the unseen is breaking open? That's not imagination. That's the vibration of chains falling off your life. You've been walking through storms that weren't random, battles that weren't coincidence, enemies lined up, not because you were weak, but because your destiny was magnetic. What they didn't calculate is that every arrow thrown at you only sharpened your armor. Every insult only confirmed your position. And now, as you listen, the atmosphere is changing. They are losing their grip. Understand this. Enemies don't vanish because you fight harder. They vanish because the light you carry outshines their shadows. The very moment you embrace who you are, their disguises melt, their tactics collapse, their presence becomes irrelevant. The darkness cannot linger where truth is spoken. That's why you're hearing this now, to activate a force inside you that no enemy can resist. But pause here for a second. If this message is reaching your heart, if you know it's confirming things you've been feeling silently, hit that like button right now. It isn't just a gesture, it's a signal. I claim this breakthrough. I'm aligning myself with it. And every time you make a decision like that, you starve your enemies of the energy they've been feeding on. Think about it. They wanted your silence. They wanted your confusion. They wanted you questioning yourself. But instead, here you are, strengthening your clarity, standing taller in your knowing. That's why some of them are already disappearing without you lifting a finger. The truth is, many of them are not walking away by choice. They are being pulled out of your story by a force greater than both of you. Some will ghost you. Some will crumble in their own chaos. Some will simply fade into irrelevance. That is the evidence that your season of cleansing has arrived. And yet, here's the wild part. The louder you rise, the quieter your enemies will become. They might still watch from the shadows, but their power over you? Gone. Their whispers, powerless. Their schemes, cancelled before they even begin. It's not revenge, it's replacement. Every person who meant you harm is being replaced by blessings, by connections, by divine setups that will carry you further than they ever imagined. But let me ask you this. Are you ready to stop waiting for permission? Are you ready to stop shrinking yourself so that enemies feel comfortable in your presence? Because the second you decide you've had enough, the second you stop apologizing for being chosen, that's the second your enemy's time runs out. And don't forget, some of your enemies weren't strangers. Some were disguised as friends, family, mentors, even lovers. That's why it hurt so deep, because you didn't expect betrayal from their hands. But listen carefully. Betrayal was the breaking point that set you free. Without it, you would have stayed entangled in their web. With it, you stepped into the clarity of who they are and who you've always been. What they meant for harm, heaven flipped into a stage for your unveiling. The storm they tried to bury you in. That's the same storm that watered your soil. That's why you're rising differently. You're not just surviving, you're thriving. You're not just enduring, you're glowing. And that glow is exactly why your enemies are evaporating so quickly. They can't breathe in the altitude you're climbing to. And here's the most powerful truth of all. You don't even need to fight them anymore. The battle isn't yours. It's already been decided. You're walking into a realm where your silence is stronger than their gossip. Your presence is louder than their plotting, and your peace is more terrifying than your anger. Stay with me, because in the next moments, I'm going to show you how the very energy they sent against you is about to circle back and destroy itself, while lifting you higher. You may not realize this, but every enemy that rises against you carries a hidden expiration date. They think their power is eternal, that their schemes will last forever. But the moment God's light shines upon you, their influence begins to rot from the inside out. What looks strong today will be crumbling tomorrow. What seems unstoppable now will vanish overnight. And here's the truth. You don't even have to fight them directly. Your very existence, your very glow, is the weapon that dismantles them. Pause for a moment and let that sink in. Your presence is warfare. Your resilience is their defeat. Your anointing is their destruction. That's why you notice strange patterns. People who once mocked you suddenly go quiet. Those who plotted against you start fighting amongst themselves. The very alliances your enemies formed begin to collapse, because darkness cannot hold its shape when light keeps pressing in. They may not admit it, but they can feel it. Every time you take a step forward, they lose ground. Every time you lift your head high, their heads sink lower. And soon, they won't just walk away. They'll scatter in all directions because they cannot withstand the weight of the destiny covering your life. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how certain people who once thrived in your downfall no longer even appear in your space? It's not coincidence. It's divine clearance. The hand of God is sweeping away what no longer belongs in your life. Your path is too sacred. Your assignment too powerful for you to be surrounded by those who secretly hope you fail. This is why so many of them vanish without warning. They may call it distance. They may call it moving on. But the truth is, the fire of your purpose is too intense for them to sit near. Here's something you must understand. Enemies don't always leave because you push them out. Sometimes they leave because their demons can't breathe in the atmosphere you carry. You shift rooms just by walking in. You alter environments just by speaking. And those who are not aligned with heaven cannot endure it. That's why you've been losing people. Why you've been seeing sudden exits. Why doors are closing around you. It isn't loss. It's divine subtraction. And every subtraction is making space for multiplication. But here's the part that will shock you. The ones who disappear aren't always gone for good. Some will linger at a distance, secretly watching you. They may not comment, they may not speak, but their eyes are still locked on you because they want to see if you'll survive. They want to know if you'll break. They wait in silence for your downfall. But what they don't realize is this: you're not just surviving, you're ascending. Every attempt to bury you only planted you deeper, and now you're growing into something unstoppable. Pay attention, because the shift is happening quickly. What took years before will happen in moments now. What seemed delayed will suddenly accelerate. And when it does, every enemy will be forced to face the undeniable truth. They never had power over you. Their gossip couldn't stop you. Their betrayal couldn't break you. Their lies couldn't silence you. They tried everything. And yet here you are, rising higher, glowing brighter, moving faster. And that glow, that light within you, is exactly what makes enemies disappear so fast. Because here's the secret. Enemies feed on your weakness, but when you step into your true strength, they starve. Enemies thrive in your silence, but when you speak your truth, they shrink. Enemies rise when you doubt yourself, but when you stand in certainty, they crumble. This is why the moment you began to embrace your calling, people who once seemed so bold suddenly retreated into shadows. But it doesn't stop here. The divine is preparing a scene so undeniable that even those who once cursed you will have no choice but to witness your blessing. They may try to look away, but your glow will be everywhere. They may try to deny it, but the evidence of your elevation will be too loud. This is why God told you to stay patient, to stay grounded, because your moment isn't coming, it's already here. And when it unfolds fully, enemies won't just disappear quietly. They'll disappear in shame, realizing they wasted their energy fighting a battle they were destined to lose. Listen carefully. You don't need to chase vengeance. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't even need to prove anything. Your glow will do all the work. Your consistency will silence every doubt. Your resilience will speak louder than every rumor. And in the end, their voices will vanish. Their power will vanish. Their very memory in your life will vanish. Because when God elevates you, He erases the footprints of those who tried to hold you down. And here's the next shift you're about to see. Not only will enemies disappear, but replacements will arrive. For every Judas that exits, a destiny helper will enter. For every betrayal, a blessing will step in. For every closed door, a new gateway will swing open. And this time, no enemy will be able to stand in the way because you've reached a point of divine acceleration. Things are about to happen so fast, your enemies won't even have time to react before they're swept away. The question is, are you ready for it? Are you ready to see people vanish? Not because you wished it, but because the light you carry gives them no choice. Are you ready to step into the level where every hidden enemy is exposed and erased? Because the truth is, you're already there. And what happens next will prove it in a way so undeniable that you'll look back and realize, God didn't just remove them, He replaced them with everything you deserved all along. And right here is where the tables start to turn completely. The very energy that once seemed to hunt you begins to scatter. The shadows that whispered lies behind your back now dissolve in the brightness of your breakthrough. This is not wishful thinking. This is divine alignment in action. When your enemies tried to curse you, they didn't realize that every curse became a seed of blessing. Every attempt to push you down only set you up to rise higher. Pause for a moment and think about this. Why do the storms come hardest right before the calm? Because that's when the shift is the strongest. The tension you feel, the attacks you've endured, the betrayals you've carried, they were never designed to destroy you. They were designed to test if you were truly ready to step into a power so radiant that no enemy could stand in it. And here's the shocking truth. Your glow is not just a reflection of your effort, it's the result of divine favor marking you in ways that cannot be erased. You've been chosen, not because you were perfect, not because you always got it right, but because there's a purpose inside you that heaven refuses to let die. That's why the people who tried to bury you can't sleep at night. That's why the ones who thought they won keep checking to see if you're still standing. And every time they look, they're stunned because you're not only standing, you're shining brighter than before. Doesn't that make you wonder? Why is it that no matter how much they plot, you keep rising? It's because your enemies were never your true opposition. The real battle has always been spiritual. Listen closely. The enemies you see in the flesh are only the front lines. Behind them are forces of jealousy, insecurity, fear, and doubt that tried to attach themselves to you. But those forces are losing grip. Every time you affirm your worth, every time you choose peace over revenge, every time you keep moving forward when you could have given up, you weaken their hold. And here's where it gets even more powerful. Your obedience to your calling terrifies them more than your resistance ever could. Because resistance can be fought, but divine alignment cannot be stopped. Imagine your enemies right now, the ones who spoke against you, who doubted you, who laughed when you were down. Picture them watching you rise and realizing that nothing they did worked. The weapons were formed, yes, but they did not prosper. And here's the kicker, they never will. Because the light you carry has reached a point of no return. You are in a season where the enemy can scream, but their voice has no power. They can plot, but their plans crumble in silence. They can watch, but they cannot touch. That's why suddenly, doors start opening that you didn't even knock on. Opportunities chase you down. Favor finds you in places your name was never even mentioned. That is the hand of God moving in your life. But let me give you a revelation that might shake you. Some of your enemies weren't strangers. They were close. They were the ones who smiled at you, broke bread with you, pretended to support you. And when they betrayed you, it felt like the deepest wound. But here's the divine twist. God allowed it because He needed to show you who could not go with you into the next level. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. And though it hurt, it purified your circle. Now the ones left standing beside you are the ones who truly matter. Doesn't that change how you see the pain? Every tear you cried, every sleepless night, every moment you wondered if you'd make it. It was all fuel for the fire burning in you right now. And as that fire grows, enemies can't stand the heat. They fall away not because you fight them, but because your presence itself becomes unbearable to those who dwell in darkness. Light exposes, light repels, light reveals, and you, chosen one, are walking proof of that light. That's why you don't have to seek revenge. That's why you don't have to waste your energy on proving yourself. The glow of your transformation is your answer. The silence of your rise is your weapon. Here's the question that will echo in their minds. How did you survive what was meant to destroy you? And the answer is simple: grace. You were carried when you didn't even know it. You were protected when you thought you were exposed. You were elevated when you thought you were sinking. That's why you're still here. That's why you can listen to this right now with fire in your heart. Because something in you knows it's not over. It's only just beginning. And as your beginning unfolds, their end is written. Because every enemy that rose against you is now watching the prophecy unfold before their eyes. You cannot be stopped. And let me tell you, the most dangerous thing to your enemies is not your anger, not your fight, but your peace. When they see you unbothered, when they see you smiling despite their attacks, when they see you walking in joy while they're drowning in bitterness, that's when they realize they've already lost. So walk boldly, keep shining, because you are the living proof that light always wins. But here's the truth. Your enemies are not as strong as they pretend to be. They thrive on illusions, whispers, and shadows. They create the image of power because deep inside, they are powerless without you. They fear being exposed. They fear that one day the mask will fall and the truth will rise. And chosen one, that day has already begun. The light inside you has pierced through every disguise they tried to wear. And now, they are scrambling. They are retreating. They are breaking down. The moment you decided not to shrink anymore, their collapse became inevitable. Think about this. How many times have you wondered why they react so strongly to your silence? Why they panic when you walk away? Why they lose their calm when you no longer give them your energy? It's because silence is louder than any argument. Your withdrawal is a declaration. It screams to them, you have no control here anymore. And enemies, manipulators, energy leeches, they cannot survive without control. Your freedom destroys their illusion. And here's where the tables turn. What they thought would destroy you became your training ground. What they thought would crush you actually sharpened your vision. You now walk with discernment. You now see behind smiles that hide envy, behind compliments that drip with poison. You see it all. And when you see it, you can't unsee it. And they hate that you see them clearly, because once you recognize a snake, it can't bite you the same way again. Every trap set before you has turned into a stepping stone beneath you. Every betrayal only carved out more space for new blessings to arrive. That's why you've been feeling the shift lately. Like doors you never expected are beginning to open. That's why the weight has started to lift. That's why people who once drained you are disappearing one by one. It's not random. It's divine alignment. The enemies are scattering not because of coincidence, but because they can no longer stand in the same room as your expansion. Pause for a moment. Think about this. If enemies are running while you're still only in the building stage, imagine what will happen when the masterpiece is finished. Imagine when the vision God placed in you becomes reality. Imagine when the crown they tried to bury shines in full daylight. They won't just disappear, they'll erase themselves. They'll try to rewrite the story to hide the fact that they were once against you. But the truth always has a way of revealing itself. And here's the most shocking part. They already know they lost. They already feel the final blow before it even arrives. That's why you see them restless. That's why you notice the tension in their tone, the sudden fake kindness, the forced laughter. They are terrified of what's coming because they sense it even before you fully step into it. Your destiny is making noise and they can't silence it. But you must stay alert. Because right before your biggest breakthrough, enemies often make their last desperate moves. They try to lure you back with apologies they don't mean. They try to provoke you into battles not worth fighting. They try to distract you with noise, hoping you'll abandon your focus. Don't fall for it. You've come too far to look back now. The collapse is already happening. Don't rescue what God is removing. Don't chase what heaven is breaking apart. There's a reason the pressure has been so intense lately. It's the final stretch. It's the moment before the floodgates open. It's the moment when darkness tries one last time to trick you into doubting the light. Hold your ground. Speak less. Move wisely. Protect your spirit. Because your stillness is not weakness. It is warfare. Every quiet step you take in faith shakes the ground beneath your enemy's feet. They are not retreating because you fought with fists. They are retreating because you stood unshaken. Your enemies cannot stay where you are going. The higher you rise, the thinner the air becomes, and not everyone can breathe at that level. Some were never meant to climb with you. Some were only lessons, not lifelong companions. Don't cry over who's leaving. Celebrate that they're being cleared out. For every exit, there's an entrance. For every disappearance, there's a new arrival. The table is being prepared, and only those aligned with your destiny will sit with you. Now let me ask you, are you ready to walk into the next room knowing some doors behind you will slam shut? Are you ready to trust that those who left were never essential to your calling? Because the moment you accept this truth, you will stop mourning your losses and start preparing for your gains. The enemies are disappearing, but the blessings are arriving. And when the shift is complete, you won't even recognize the battlefield anymore. You'll only see victory. And as your enemies scramble to make sense of what's happening, they will realize that their greatest mistake was ever thinking you were ordinary. They looked at you through the lens of jealousy, through the filter of gossip, through the shallow eyes of envy. But what they never considered was the depth of your spirit, the strength of your endurance, and the shield of divine fire that surrounds you. This is why they are failing, and this is why you are rising. It's not a fair fight, because you are not fighting with human strength alone. You are backed by the Creator Himself. Have you noticed how the harder they tried to block you, the faster your blessings started to accelerate? That wasn't random. Every attack they launched against you was transformed into fuel for your destiny. Every closed door became a detour into a better path. Every loss you suffered was turned into a divine trade. Less of what you didn't need, more of what was always meant for you. This is the secret your enemies can't comprehend. They don't realize that by opposing you, they are only helping to build the stage for your breakthrough. And here's something shocking. Many of them are starting to see it. They can feel it in the air. Something about you has changed. You walk into the room, and suddenly the atmosphere shifts. People who used to mock you now grow silent. People who once spread rumors about you suddenly fall quiet when your name is mentioned. Why? Because they sense the fire on your life. They see the evidence of God's hand on you. And deep down, even if they never admit it, they know they can't stop what's coming for you. But let me tell you this, you must be careful right now. When your enemies realize they can't stop you, some will try to join you. They'll pretend to be supportive. They'll act like they were on your side all along. This is not a season to fall for sweet words or fake smiles. This is the season to let actions speak louder than promises. Test the spirits around you. Watch the fruit, not the lips. Because the same people who once wished for your downfall will try to sneak back in when they see you rising. The irony is, they don't understand that your elevation is not something they can ride. It's not a ladder they can climb just by standing near you. Your blessing is tailored, your breakthrough is designed, your light is personal. No one can steal it, no one can imitate it, no one can replicate it. That's why every attempt to copy you will end in frustration. That's why every imitation will crumble. Because while they're busy studying your steps, they're ignoring the truth. Your steps are ordered. And when steps are ordered by God, they cannot be duplicated. Imagine this. You once walked with a heavy heart, burdened by rejection, weighed down by betrayal. But look at you now. That same rejection became the platform that pushed you into alignment. That same betrayal opened your eyes to who was never truly for you. And those lessons you learned in pain, they sharpened you, molded you, and now they've made you untouchable. This is why enemies disappear. They can't stand in the presence of someone who has been refined by fire and still emerged glowing. Pause for a moment and hear this clearly. The pain you endured was not wasted. It was a weapon being forged. And that weapon is your resilience, your faith, your unwavering spirit. That is why you keep winning battles that should have destroyed you. That is why, while others crumble, under pressure, you keep standing taller. Your strength intimidates them. Your peace confuses them. Your joy irritates them. But it doesn't matter, because none of those things belong to them. They were given to you, and you're not giving them back. So let me ask you, do you realize just how close you are to a breakthrough so massive that even you won't believe it at first? Do you understand that the same people who laughed at you will be forced to watch you receive blessings they cannot touch? Some of them will beg for explanations, others will try to minimize it, but none will be able to deny it. Your success will be undeniable, your glow will be unstoppable, and your story will be unforgettable. And here's the part that should excite you the most. The shift you are experiencing now is only the beginning. What you've seen so far is just a preview. The doors that are opening, the opportunities being unlocked, the people being aligned with your purpose, this is only the foundation. The real unveiling hasn't even started yet. God is setting you up for a display so powerful that every single enemy, every single hater, every single doubter will have no choice but to vanish. They won't just disappear from your path, they'll disappear from relevance. They'll fade out like shadows at sunrise because your light is too strong for them to stand against. And when that moment comes, you will remember this. You didn't just survive, you thrived. You didn't just endure, you elevated. You didn't just wait, you walked straight into destiny. And nothing, absolutely nothing, your enemies did could stop it. And as you step into this new reality, something profound happens. Your very presence begins to dismantle the structures of those who plotted against you. Without you lifting a hand, without you wasting your breath on arguments or explanations, their plans collapse under the weight of their own dishonesty. Every scheme they whispered in dark rooms, every trap they thought would ensnare you, becomes the very rope that ties them up. This is the divine reversal, the invisible hand of justice moving faster than you could have imagined. The enemies you feared, the ones you thought were powerful, are suddenly powerless when confronted with the light you carry. They scatter not because of your words, but because of the force surrounding you, a force they can neither understand nor withstand. There is something about your silence that unnerves them more than any battle cry ever could. You don't have to chase them. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to stoop to their level. All you do is rise, and in your rising, they fall. They sense it before you see it. Your breakthrough, your elevation, the undeniable momentum building in your favor. And it terrifies them because deep down, they always knew that once you discovered who you truly were, they could never touch you again. That's why they tried to distract you, to discourage you, to make you doubt yourself. But they failed, and now they're being forced to watch the very thing they dreaded most, your victory. Pause for a moment and think about this. How many nights did you cry wondering why people turned against you? How many times did you ask yourself what you did wrong, why you were targeted, why it seemed like enemies were rising up from every corner? Those questions were heavy, weren't they? But here's the truth. It wasn't about what you did wrong. It was about what you did right. It was about the destiny you carry. It was about the promise over your life that others could see before you did. And because they couldn't stop it, they tried to destroy your confidence. But what they didn't realize is that every tear you shed, every rejection you endured, every betrayal you faced, it was all fuel. It was sharpening you, strengthening you, positioning you for this exact moment. And now look where you are, still standing, still breathing, still chosen, and not just surviving, but entering into a season where you thrive without effort, where doors open without knocking, where blessings flow without you chasing, This is not luck. This is not coincidence. This is the divine promise unfolding right before your eyes. Those who doubted you are about to doubt themselves. Those who tried to bury you are about to realize they planted a seed, and that seed has grown into something unstoppable. You are walking into a chapter where enemies cannot follow. Their access has expired. Their influence is broken. Their words carry no weight against you anymore. Watch closely. People who once mocked you will suddenly go silent. Those who laughed when you stumbled will have no words when you soar. And here's the most powerful part. Your success won't even be about proving them wrong. No, it will be about proving yourself right. It will be about stepping fully into the truth of who you always were. Doesn't it feel different now? The heaviness that used to cling to you is gone. The fear that once kept you small has no grip on you anymore. You can feel it, can't you? The shift, the release, the undeniable energy that says you are no longer who you were yesterday. You have crossed over, and once you cross over, there is no going back. But here's the secret. This moment isn't just about celebration, it's about responsibility, because with this new level comes a new weight. You are being trusted with influence, with blessings, with opportunities, and how you handle them will determine how high you continue to climb. Don't let pride sneak in. Don't let bitterness guide you. Stay anchored in gratitude, because gratitude is the magnet for even more abundance. Now, let me ask you, are you ready for what happens when your elevation becomes undeniable? Are you ready for the silence of those who once shouted against you? Are you ready for the shift in atmosphere when you walk into rooms and people feel your presence before you speak? Because that's what's next. It won't just be about enemies disappearing. It will be about new alignments forming. The right people, the right opportunities, the right doors. They're being arranged for you even now. And when you walk through them, you'll realize something powerful. Every delay, every betrayal, every enemy was necessary. Without them, you wouldn't have the strength you carry today. Without them, you wouldn't have the wisdom to steward what's coming. So don't resent what you went through. Thank it, because it shaped you. And because it shaped you, nothing can shake you. And as you breathe this in, as you allow it to sink deep into your spirit, know this. This isn't the end of the story. This is the beginning of the chapter they never wanted to read. And here's the part they'll never admit out loud. Many of the enemies that rise against you were once admirers. They studied you, copied you, even pretended to support you. But the moment they realized they could never outshine your light, their admiration curdled into envy. That envy became bitterness. That bitterness became hatred. And that hatred is what they carry like poison inside themselves while you continue to rise untouched. Every time you move forward, their own failures echo louder in their minds. And that's why they can't stand you. Not because you hurt them, not because you wronged them, but because your very existence is a reminder that they gave up where you refuse to quit. Now imagine this. Every insult they threw at you, every scheme they set against you, every door they tried to slam in your face, all of it has become kindling for the fire God placed in your spirit. You've been transformed by resistance. Instead of breaking, you sharpened. Instead of shrinking, you expanded. They thought their attacks would stop you, but all they did was make you stronger, wiser, and more focused. And now, that same strength is the reason their power over you is disappearing quickly. Don't you see? You've become unshakable. They tried to use fear, but fear no longer binds you. They tried to use rejection, but rejection redirected you. They tried to use betrayal, but betrayal blessed you. This is why you are untouchable now, because nothing they do has the ability to control your path anymore. The very tools they once used to destroy you have turned into the very lessons that crowned you. Pause for a moment and feel this truth. Enemies do not vanish because you fight them. They vanish because they lose access to the energy they once thrived on. When you stop feeding them your pain, your attention, your reactions, they starve. That's what's happening right now. Your silence is louder than your words. Your progress is heavier than any threat. Your peace is more violent to them than any revenge could ever be. They can't survive in the light you've chosen to walk in, so they fade, one by one, like shadows chased away by the rising sun. But let me ask you, what happens when the enemies that once terrified you begin to fear you? What happens when the roles flip? That moment is closer than you think. You are already stepping into the phase where those who plotted against you can't even enter your space. Their energy ricochets off your shield of divine protection. They're restless, sleepless, pacing floors in the middle of the night, asking themselves why nothing works against you anymore. They're haunted by the truth. You are no longer in their reach. And here's the most shocking part. Some of them will try to return, not out of love, but out of desperation. They'll want access to the very person they tried to break. They'll come cloaked in apologies, in false kindness, in carefully chosen words. But listen closely. Discernment will protect you. You'll feel the difference between someone who is truly repentant and someone who is simply regretful because they couldn't destroy you. That's why you must remain unshaken. You cannot go backward into places God has already delivered you from. Right now, you're being elevated to a level where enemies cancel themselves. Without your effort, without your retaliation, without your involvement, they fall into the very pits they dug for you. That's not coincidence. That's divine law. The universe does not allow injustice to last forever. Every tear you shed was counted, and now every tear will be answered with favor. The ones who laughed will be silenced. The ones who plotted will be exposed. The ones who celebrated your pain will be forced to watch your joy. Let this sink in. You don't have to chase revenge. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to fight to be seen. All you have to do is keep moving forward, keep protecting your peace, keep trusting that the unseen hand guiding you knows exactly how to deal with every hidden enemy. That is why they are disappearing faster than you can even notice. By the time you turn around to look, they'll already be gone, erased like footprints in the tide. But don't get comfortable, because with every enemy removed, greater blessings come into view. And blessings attract attention, which means, and now the moment comes. The silence before the storm, the pause before the trumpet sounds. Chosen one, you are standing at the edge of something colossal, something so divine that no tongue can fully describe it. Yet your spirit already knows. You feel it in your chest, that undeniable shift, the knowing that the enemies you feared, the battles that drained you, the storms that shook you, none of it has the power to hold you anymore. Their weapons have failed, their words have collapsed, their plans have shattered, and their presence is dissolving into nothingness. Watch closely, because this is the final act, the part where every enemy disappears quickly, not by your hand, but by the hand of the one who walks with you. They are already stumbling. Their voices are breaking. Their masks are slipping. Their confidence is turning into confusion. The ones who whispered against you cannot stand the volume of your breakthrough. The ones who conspired in shadows cannot withstand the light that surrounds you now. You don't need to fight anymore. You don't need to explain. You don't need to prove. You only need to stand and watch. For it is written, "Stand still, and you will see the salvation of the Lord." And as you stand there, your enemies will scatter in ways that don't make sense. Some will fall silent and never speak against you again. Some will remove themselves from your path, unable to bear the sight of your glow. Some will try to run ahead, but find themselves blocked at every turn. And some will simply vanish, like smoke blown away by a strong wind. That is what's happening right now. This is not just a promise for tomorrow, it's a reality being written in this very moment. So hear me clearly. Do not be afraid of the numbers stacked against you. Do not tremble at the reports whispered about you. You are not outnumbered. You are not outpowered. You are not outmatched. If God is for you, who can be against you? No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises in judgment will be condemned. That is your inheritance. That is your covering. That is your shield. Lift your head high, chosen one. The storm has passed. The shadows are retreating. The tables have turned. Your enemies may have thought they were writing your ending, but instead, they became the backdrop for your rising. Every curse is now a blessing. Every attack is now a testimony. Every loss is now a preparation for double restoration. So watch, once, and every enemy will disappear quickly. Watch once, and you'll see them scatter. Watch once, and you'll realize you were never the one in danger. They were the ones standing in the path of God's plan. And no one, no force, no darkness, no enemy can stop that plan from unfolding. This is your moment. Step into it boldly. Stand in it, unshaken. Speak in it with authority. Walk in it with power. You have endured the fire, now you wear the crown. And as you move forward, remember this truth. Every enemy who dared to rise against you has already fallen. Their disappearance is your sign. Their silence is your confirmation. Their downfall is your proof. Chosen one, your story has just begun, and it is written in victory.